A nice, well, at first glance anyway, Retina II, type 142. One of my customers had this shipped to me. He told me he'd bought it from Japan and he's had them ship it to me directly to overhaul. So what have we got here? Well, it's a Retina II, type 142, which was Kodak's second Retina II, the ill-fated 122. Didn't stay on the market very long. Something odd here immediately. See, there's a wart sticking out the side here. That's a flash connection. That is not exactly standard practice. What else have we got? Well, we've got an accessory shoe glued onto the top cover. Well, it looks to be glued. I can see no fixing points anywhere. The leather on the back of the camera, it's all peeled. Someone's had something on there, sticky tape or something, and they've torn it off. It's torn all the surface off the leather at the back of the camera. Down here too. That's unfortunate. The leather on the back of this model wraps around the body edges. There's no easy way to deal with that. Opening the camera up. Well, there's a clever trick. Someone's put a lens cap on it. A lens cap on a folding camera is a useless article, but I'm sure somebody will like that for their Konica. And there we have the shutter and the lens. Now it's all looking quite neat and tidy there. This focus is quite stiff. What about the rangefinder? Let me check. Well, it's very hazy and there is no moving image at all. None. No reaction to moving the focus scale. There's no second image. I very strongly suspect that the semi-silvered mirror is has been cleaned to death. Does the film advance work? The advance knob turns the take-up spool. If we roll the sprocket wheel forward, no, we can't roll the sprocket wheel forward, it's locked. Shutter release doesn't work. So the film advance is shot. Something seriously wrong with that. The rewind. What do we know about the rewind? Oh yes, it does rewind. So at least it's got the little J-shaped hook that's in there and operates the rewind. But it's going to be a bit entertaining, this one, I'd say. It's got a few faults. Even the ones I can see instantly from the outside. Who knows what exciting things I'll find on the inside. But at least there's a bonus lens cap. Someone's going to be pleased about that. Well, I'd better start at the beginning and see how we get on. Now the advance knob comes off, which strongly suggests that someone's had it off recently, because often they are very, very stiff indeed. The rewind knob we want off, and the button off the top of the film shutter release. Right, I'll use my pliers that I made for removing rewind knobs on 3C type cameras, 2A type cameras. We'll use that. That removed that shutter release, and now we're into the rewind. Now instantly I can see that the screw on that rewind is not an original, it's something else. And the one on the other side, likewise. I can tell that from experience because I know what they should look like, and these don't look like it. So, someone's had the camera apart at some stage and they either lost the original screws Or they had some other magic reason to replace them with foreigners. Let's have that off. The J-shaped hook, that's not an original either. You can see that's made out of a piece of brass. Seems to work, so that part's fine, but it's not an original part. Not by any means. The top cover, 2 screws. I'm interested to find out what's happened to this rangefinder, find out what it is that's happened. Let's take the top cover off. Oh, we've got a wire here running down through the body to that flash connection. Now that does not look modern to me. That looks like that's been there for a very long time. And it's running through a hole in the body at this point. Oh, it's nasty, isn't it? 2 pieces of wire soldered together at that point. The top of the camera here, I'm sure you can see that this is full of sand and grime. That's a mess. Where's our rangefinder mechanism? Well, it's no wonder the rangefinder doesn't work. It's not even present. So all the mechanism here for the rangefinder is just gone. That's just gone, burger. There's no parts there. So that's a bit of a setback. No wonder there's no secondary image in the rangefinder. Right, so we're going to need all of this bit replaced. All of this is going to be, well, it's going to be stripped anyway because it's full of sand. Since somebody was clever enough to remove half the rangefinder because they didn't know, this is really odd, this is just unusual. What people have done to this camera is just right up there. That's, yeah, should be in the crimes against humanity, this sort of thing. Let's have a look at the base of this here. What have we got going on here? Now this is underneath that shoe that's on the top. There's a couple of bits of crap glued on the bottom here with screw holes in it so that the screws could fit through here. This shoe is not glued on the top as I first thought. That's just got a cover plate over the screws that run through the top plate. And here they are, screwed into some stray bits of metal at the bottom, which have got, one's got Japan written on it, so at least we know who the culprit was. The other one's just a stray strap of metal with holes through it. This one's a dog's breakfast. I haven't seen one of these in this state, not sold as a going camera, in many, many years. I've seen uglier things turn up here as parts, just as parts cameras, but nothing that pretended to function as a camera has ever turned up here this ugly for this particular model. Let's take the support here for the frame counter off the camera. I can see my video camera's grizzling, the battery's flat, so that could stop at any moment. Do not be surprised if it just stops. Oh dear. Alright, more work. Okay, so most of the rangefinder's gone. We might as well remove the remnants here. That screw does not want to come out. Oh, what the hell have they done to that? Oh, we might be able to get round that. Some of this model had the top part of the casting machined away so that you'd actually get the rangefinder in and out. In one piece, more or less. The earlier ones you had to feed the shaft up from the base. There's our coupling screw for the arm from the front of the focus scale ring. have that screw out. That is the correct screw, strangely enough. Let's see if we can get this thing out. We can. Alright, so at least we know how to wriggle the mortal remains of the rangefinder out. Completely missing the moving prism and so forth. I'll start pulling apart all of this stuff. This is all covered in sand and grime. No wonder the film advance was less than enthusiastic about working correctly. It's wonder anything would turn in here at all. Take that arm off. Take this arm off. Every now and then I see a camera that surprises me at the ingenuity of the person who put it back together to look like a camera. See if I can get that screw out of the corner with the spring on it. That spring has been buggered with. It's not supposed to be that shape. The gears on here, the little ratchet teeth. Let's lever those off. They're very grimy. A lot of sand. Certainly been to the beach. Screws are loose here. I'll make up for the screws that didn't want to come loose, I suppose. I had a quick look from the back of the taking lens in the back of the camera at the state of the diaphragm, and that looked a little bit oily to me. Which means if it's had a shutter job, it had a half pie shutter job. I'll just unhook that spring from that arm. See if that screw will come out. Oh no, that doesn't want to. And the rewind can come out. I better go and deal to that solder joint. No, I'll do it here because I'm not going to put that crap back. Having a wire connecting a flash when you've got a shutter that opens and closes like this, it's just doomed to failure. There's just no danger you're going to be able to route that wire in some useful fashion so that it doesn't get caught up in the mechanism and break at some stage. That was a mug's game. They brought it in the back from the shutter some way. We'll find that out in due course, no doubt. At the base of the camera. Well, this was made for the domestic German market, since the focus scale is in meters, and more importantly perhaps the depth of field scale here is marked in German. Just take off the tripod surround. And after that, I want the leather off the base of the camera. This is stuck fairly well. It's a good solid piece of leather. That came off without a fight. The tripod socket is, the screws are normally loose. They're not too bad. That one in fact is tight. That's not a quarter, that's 3/8, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, that's not going to come loose without a bit of help. Take these screws out for the door hinge. One at the top, which just fell into the body. Now I've got it back. And one at the bottom. I'll just unhook that door. The way the struts don't exactly click into place leads me to believe that the struts are most likely a bit bent. That's not a serious problem, that's not at all uncommon anyway. So I suppose removing the lens and shutter assembly is the next thing to do. I've got a spanner here for doing this. This is one of the Belgian spanners, which are no longer available. But which work very well indeed. Certain models. There's the wire. It's passing up the back of here, wedged in around that plate. That's going to have to come out. Well, I think discussions will have to be had with the camera's owner about the error of their ways in purchasing this fine machine and what state it'll be in when it comes home. So the focus, oh look at that. You can tell they've been doing a lot of butchering in here. I don't know whether you can see that. There's an awful lot of sparkles here. Those are metal filings. That's because somebody's been drilling things while they've been on the camera. Why would you do that? That's bizarre. I can't see any reason they'd need to do that. What a mess. Okay, so I want to mark my focus scale ring so that I can note where it fitted relative to the outer focus helical. So I put a couple, it's got scratches all over it. It's got alignment marks here all over the place which line up with nothing. Okay, that's a great start. That could mean anything. It could mean that it's functioned perfectly well as a viewfinder camera prior to me taking it apart, or it might mean that it was just a pile of parts and was never intended to actually be a functioning camera to take photos with. I'll just mark this across here with some recognisable marks so that I can put everything back together exactly as I found it, and hopefully the focus will be correct at that point, though I wouldn't guarantee it. Oh yeah, this gets better and better all the time.